Good evening, everybody. And what you are seeing come up right now is our brand new website, and it's hidden up there a little bit. But what we have done is we are changing this, and you'll see this coming out in the next couple of days. But what we've done is we've changed our webpage. We felt was didn't represent us very well. So what we've done is we've changed it, given a little bit more of a dynamic appeal, and also it allows us to kind of have just a different feel. You know, one of these things, when people go to our website, we want them to get the feeling of the Edge, not what, of a website from 10 years ago. So that's kind of what we've changed to, and it's kind of a new, and you can see it's a little more dynamic, and once we start really getting the hang of how this thing goes, then we'll start adding more components, different video, and right now we're going to put the link on our website, or on our Facebook page, so that you can go to it. Right now it's just got a weird IP address. It doesn't say theedgecommunitychurch.org, and you can go to it. And you can go through and kind of critique it and see where we missed stuff, and maybe if we need to add some stuff, we'd love to be able to get those insights and those input. But it's our new page, and we would love to have people sharing it once we go live. It should go live on Friday, depending upon, it's hosted by a third company, so it depends upon them, not me. I've already said go live. I said live now. So it's just a little different. You can go ahead and click into our series. So, guys, we are in the middle of From This Day Forward on Wednesday nights. And really, this is a great series that if you are married or if you are in any sort of relationship, this is great for communication. This is just great for getting along. It's great for relationships and just great for being part of one another, just kind of getting to know people. And really, when we think about this, a lot of us are married and we fight. We fight, and we fight some more. Then we fight, and we fight, and we fight some more. It's one of those things is that even some of you guys, you might be in a marriage, and you were fighting on your way to church this evening. You were on your way here. You better shut up. You don't let. And then you hit the parking lot, and it's all cheese. Everybody's happy. Everybody's smiling. It's like, whoa! It's a whole different thing. We all have these different issues in our relationship. Melissa and I got into a fight the other day. Her and I were getting this argument. Actually, 2 days ago, we got in this argument. And we're fighting. We always fight over something. It doesn't really matter, I guess. It's always one of these trivial things. It's whether the house is clean or whatever it is. We never get into one of these financial arguments. We never get into one of these arguments. You spent all the money, or we never get into those type of arguments. We get into the arguments. It's always over something kind of just trivial. So so yesterday, Melissa came crawling back to me because she knew I was right. No kidding. I'm not kidding. We haven't gotten to that far yet. She's actually still angry at me. Here's the reality. All couples fight. Healthy couples fight clean. Unhealthy couples fight dirty. So all couples fight. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. All of them are. So healthy works out a resolution. It tries to go through. It's not one of these things we're going to fight just to fight. They work and they try and figure out how can we be better. The unhealthy type of fighting, we press for victory. When we fight and we're trying to win, it's about that. It's not about whether we're right or wrong. It's about winning. It's, my wife knows this about me, is that when we get in an argument, I could be flat out wrong and know that I am flat out wrong. Know it. She could tell me, the sky is blue, and I'll go, it's pink. I'm telling you, it is pink, and I will fight it, and you will agree with me at some point. At some point, you'll go, all right, it's pink. Come on, let's get this thing over. I will fight and fight and fight and fight because I like to fight to be victorious. That's what I'm after. That's not healthy. It's not healthy whatsoever. If you're fighting to win, that's not healthy at all. It is hot in here. It is so hot. I'm like, man, I am sweating already. I just got up here. It is hot. John Gottman studied marriage for 16 years, and he could watch a couple fight for 5 minutes. Literally, he could watch them fight for 5 minutes, and with 91% accuracy, he could determine if they were going to get a divorce or not. So he could watch a couple fight, and just because of how they fight, you can determine how their relationship is going to end up. How are they fighting? What are they fighting about? Not if they fought. All couples fight. It's how they fought. How do you fight? Remember, as we're going through this series, we started last week, and you can see it on the top here. And the reason why it's still on your bulletin is because all of these things we start with, we have to seek the one. We have to seek God first, and then while we're preparing for number two. So we seek God while we're preparing for our significant other. So as we're looking for our husbands or our wives, we have to find God first. If we don't have God, then we'll never find anybody who's going to have the same goals, the same aspirations, the same faith. You know, it's awkward when you meet somebody and they've got some. It's even awkward when you meet somebody who has you just meet them and they have a different religion than you, and you're talking, and and he could be a Buddhist, or he could be, whatever it is. It's very difficult to find common ground there. Sometimes you're like, oh, you don't eat cows. I do. I love meat. You can go through these different things, and you find that people have these aspects that don't fit. So if we're not pursuing God, we're not going to find somebody who's going to have our like mind and is going to pursue God the same as us. It's very, very difficult. Someone with the same thing with long-term friends. When we look for long-term friends, the funny part is that Melissa and I, when we got involved in church, we seem to have lost all of our friends. All the people we thought were our friends, they all went away. They were like, oh, you go to church. Then we got really great friends, people we know that are going to be there for, and those are the people, when you go to our Facebook pages, you look through, most of our friends are from church. My wife has got like 6,000 or something. No, she's got like 355 or whatever it is. But most of them are from the churches that we've served at. Because everybody else they don't pursue the same goals we do. That's the same thing in our relationships. We want people that are going to pursue the same goals that we pursue. Proverbs 27:15. You guys are going to love this one. Because it's going to seem like I'm attacking. A quarrelsome wife is like a consistent dripping on a rainy day. Proverbs 27:15. Here, how about this one? It's better to have severe hemorrhoids than to live with a husband who is a jerk. That's 2 Mike 4:2. When you go through it, and so number one is that we've talked about this. If you look on the board up here, it's the first one. We're seeking God. That's what we're going to do first. And it's on your notes. That's the first thing. I've already filled in all these ones. This week, we're talking about fighting fair. Next week, we're going to talk about having fun. Number 4 is we're going to stay pure. And number 5 is we're never going to give up. So kind of our key verse for today, and this whole thing that we're in this series, is James 1:19 through 20. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. For man's anger does not bring about the righteous life that God desires. Think about that. Think about it. If you don't have a Bible, it's up here on the wall. If you don't have it on your phone, it's okay too. It's on your notes. But when you look at it, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak. What do? We are very fast to speak. Last night, Melissa was talking to me, and she was telling me about a situation that took place in her group for her, something that was going on with her. And for me, I'm the actual guy that she just wanted to vent, and I go, I want to give you instruction. Here's how I would handle that. Instead of her just going, I just want to vent. I just want to tell you what's going on. I'm going, well, you can't do that. You got to listen to me here. It's one of those things is that we are so quick to speak. We are so fast. When she goes, I just want to talk. Well, I'm not talking about that anymore. We've got to do it this way. And guys, it's so unhealthy when we try and do things without just listening sometimes. Sometimes we just forget to listen and just sit there and go, tell me more. What else you got? Come on, tell me. I want to hear it. I want you to just keep talking to me until you're done talking. Because that's how we can actually make our spouses happy. It goes both ways. Tell me. But here's the thing. On your notes, and here it is. You have to stop to listen carefully. Everyone should be quick to listen. James 1:19. Well, here's what it is. Sometimes we're in this point, we break out the phone, we got it out, and we're going, hold on, let me finish this text message. But Mike, I really need to talk to you. Hold on, I got to get this done. Let me get this done. Hold on, wait a minute here. That's what we do. We don't stop and go, okay, let me put this away, and let's talk. Let's have a conversation. We just go, it's so much more. This is more important. Basically, you're telling your spouse that this conversation is more important than the conversation with them. You know, when you go, oh, well, I have more respect for the person that I'm texting back than I do for you, it's unhealthy. We engage in conversations through text, through telephone, through Facebook, through all these different things when the person right in front of us is supposed to be the person that's most important to us. We go, hey, I'm marrying you to death to his part. Well, you're going to probably kill me because I'm on this phone all the time. That's what happens. But we're both the same way. You know, the same thing we could. It's not just me that's on the phone all the time. Don't think that's just a one-way street. Mike, you're always on the phone. Oh no. She. Never mind. Never mind. I'm not going to go there. Proverbs 18:2. A fool finds no pleasure in understanding, but delights in airing his own opinions. So I was a fool yesterday. And most days. Because I like to delight and I just like to air my own opinions. I just do it over and over again. I go up and I go, hey, this is what I think. And that's the problem is that most of the time we want to talk rather than listen. Because sometimes people don't want your advice. They already know what they're going to do. They just need to talk. They just need to get it off. And they just need to be able to go, look, I don't care what you have to say. I just needed to talk to you. I just needed to be able to have you listen to me and know what's going on and know what's going on with me and how I feel. It's very difficult. So here's how we stop to listen carefully. Here's a simple understanding. You know, instead of going, here's how we fix this. Here's an answer. You just go, I understand why you feel this way. So keep talking. Let me know. I understand. I do. I understand exactly the reason why you feel the way you do. And then the other thing is, repeat back what they tell you. I'm so angry. Why are you so angry? Doesn't it sound so much better? Doesn't it sound so much better when I'm so angry. Well, tell me why. Why are you angry? That question just comes back so much now. It just seems, it helps even calm down people. Well, tell me why. You can even make it funny. You're angry? Why? You know, I mean, you can have fun with it. But we don't do that. We go, you're angry. I'm angry too. That's good. Let's go. We go out and we cause a ruckus in town at that point instead of us having this healthy conversation. Your next line on your bulletin is, guard your words faithfully. Everyone should be quick to listen and slow to speak. Watch your tongue, keep your mouth shut, and you will stay out of trouble. Proverbs 21:23. Literally says that in the Bible. It wasn't like I just came up with that. It says, watch your tongue and keep your mouth shut, and you will stay out of trouble. You can't make this stuff up. You can't. It just comes out. The Bible, it's just got all these amazing things. You should read it every once in a while, guys. I'm telling you. It's got amazing stuff in it. 2 questions to ask before you actually say it. Should it be said, and should it be said now? You guys know that there is nothing worse than having somebody go, I told you so. It's okay to say that 3 or 4 weeks later. It's okay. You know, I told you that. I just want you to know. I did tell you. I told you. But as soon as it happens and you go up to them, I told you so. That's not good. You're going to make people angry. You're going to make it to where they're going to go, I don't want to be around you. I hate you. And if you do that in your relationships at home, how are you going to make them feel? Watch what you say. That's really what it comes down to. It's simple. Should it be said? Should it be said now? Some things are better to discuss at non-conflict times. So if you're angry and you're fighting, some things are just better not to discuss at that time. There's just, you don't go, you're arguing over the cat food, or you're arguing over whatever it is. You're arguing, why is there cat food on the floor? That's not the time to bring up your financial troubles. There's cat food all over the floor. That's because you emptied our bank account. Doesn't make sense. It's not the right time to argue about it. I'm so angry because our bank account is empty. I threw all the cat food on the floor. No, that's not what we do. It's not the time to argue about that. That's not the time that we should be talking about it. If we have financial issues, we discuss financial issues, not argue about them, because we both contribute to them. We both contribute to the financial issues. It's just not one person that's going out and spending. Usually it's both of you. Usually it is. Usually it's both of you guys going out, and maybe you just spend on two different things. Maybe one of you guys is going, I got to pay off these bills, and the other one's going, well, I got to rack up these bills on these credit cards. I mean, you never know how, but sometimes that's how it is. But we have to look at it. We have to go, okay, what am I doing? 3 ways. All right. So on your list, you guys. This last week, my notes weren't very clear for people, and they were like, "Hey, can you make sure that you put all this stuff up here?" And so that's the reason why there's like 25 slides this week. So number 1, never call each other names. Never call each other names. It is not healthy in your relationship that if you get up and when you're fighting, you go, "You're nothing but an." You can fill in your own blank there, but it's not healthy. That's not how that's not how the conflict is going to come to an end. You're going to make it worse and worse and worse. The second one, do not raise your voice. You don't have to come in there and you don't have to start yelling and screaming. You don't have to come in and be like, why are we doing, what is wrong with you? You don't have to do that. That's not how the argument's going to end. That's not how we're going to fight fair. That's how we're going to make it escalate. When one person raises their voice, we escalate it to the next level. Number 3, never get historical. If you fought over something and you've settled it, then don't bring it back up a week later and go, hey, we should fight about this some more. If you fought about it, it's already been taken care of, move on. You don't need to keep bringing it up over and over and over again. It's not fair to the person that you're arguing with. You ate my Skittles. That was 3 weeks ago. What is wrong with you? Why are we talking about this still? We have to look at that. So you're going to love this one. Never say never or always. Never say never or always. So it's like the Justin Bieber song, right? Never say never. I was going to try. I was going to, So, what you don't want to do is you don't want to come in. You never, ever put away this. You never do this. Or you always do this. You have to change that. And you have to make it to where you're not going, because you're lying right away. Immediately. You never do this. Well, every once in a while I actually do. So you don't say never. It's one of those things sometimes I actually do what I'm supposed to do. So never say never or always. The next one is very, very important. Never threaten with divorce. Never threaten divorce. Don't ever come out and we're in the middle of a fight, go, if you don't shut your mouth, I'm divorcing you. I hear these two over here, they're going, yeah. So we do all of those things. All of them. Take notes. All right. You guys are going to love this one. Because this is what happens sometimes. You'll be right in the middle of a fight. Pastor Mike said this. Never, ever quote your pastor during a fight. Never, ever. Never quote your pastor during a fight. You don't ever go, Mike said this, and if Mike said that's what the Bible says. No. Don't get me involved in your relationship. I'm not trying to be there. Well, except for in your relationship. I'm trying to be there. Okay. Handle your anger righteously is our next topic in there. So you get in there and you got to handle your anger righteously. What are you doing when you get home? Do you get home and you get into this fight, and what do? James 1:19, everyone should be quick to listen, so to speak, and slow to become angry. Ephesians 4:26-27, in your anger do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold. So you may not sleep for 5 days, but do not go to sleep angry. You can't. You may just be up and just going at it for 5 days, but you cannot go to sleep angry, because when you go to sleep angry, you wake up the next morning with animosity and anger on your heart, because you get up and you look at each other and you go, ooh, I'm still mad at you. I'm still mad at you. I'm still upset with what you said, or I've still got this going, or whatever. Because we have to make it to where when we go to sleep, that we allow our heart to be softened by sleep. We allow our dreams to actually be pleasant dreams about one another instead of going to sleep and going, I hate that man. I really do. Maybe he'll die tonight. My wife dropped her jaw. How does he know I say that? How does he know? No. The heart softens as the night gets later, guys. Have you ever noticed it's easier to stop arguing as the later it gets? It gets hard, it's softer at 10, and then it's even softer at 11. Well, in a normal household, you can't look at it and go, but in a normal household, your heart will soften. Do not go to sleep angry. 4 signs you're not fighting fair. So what if there's socks on the floor or the dishes are wrong? Okay, we don't need to fight about that. We don't need to fight about those things. You can fight about being cheated on, finding porn, being lied to, abuse. Those are all things that you should be fighting. Those are all things that should have healthy fights, not attacks, but healthy. Hey, let's get this figured out. Let's deal with this. Let's work through it. Not going, hey, if we go back to that list, you go back to that list at the beginning, if you were to get there and you come up with any of those things, cheating, porn, lied, abuse, and you go, I'm not going to call you any names. I'm not going to raise my voice. We're not going to get historical about it. I'm not going to say never or always, and I'm not going to threaten you with divorce. And we go back and we look at it and go, if you did these things, then we can work through it. We can get together and we can make it to where we can work through this. The problem is that most of us, we get to those things and we go right into this anger mode and we go right into this fight mode and we put the other person on defense. They're already on defense. They've already been they're already hurt. They already know that they've hurt you and they're hurting and they're looking at it and they're going, now you want to fight. And what ends up happening is you guys end up fighting about all kinds of things, not just about the issue that needs to be discussed. We end up fighting about everything. Instead of going, all right, let's work through this rather than fight about all of it. It's not healthy. And a lot of times we just continue to go, you know what, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to let my blood pressure go nuts. So there's 4 signs. One thing that we do all the time is we criticize. We complain. No, we talked about this on Sunday. We complain, but we criticize. You didn't get gas? You never do that. What's wrong with you? Number 2 is that we have just this contempt. Like this disgust. Sarcasm, the eyes roll, we mock. You know, we just look at it and we go, these are not ways of fighting fair. When you just look at each other and go, that's not fighting fair. That's not trying to put an end to it. That's just continuing to hey, we just want to make it worse. Number 3 is defensiveness. It's not me, it's you. I didn't do it. You know, and really, you have no response for yourself, and that's the reason why we become defensive. We have no response. There's no response. So when we go, you did this, and all of a sudden we go, oh, it's time to go on the offense now. That's what happens. You're not fighting fair at that point because you're not allowing the issue to be discussed, and you're not allowing it to get taken care of. The last thing, which I'm kind of notorious for, is I stonewall. And so if you're stonewalling, you tune out, you shut down, and that's 85% of men, by the way. 85% of men, they get to the point where they just stonewall and they're done, and they're like, I'm done with this conversation. And that's not fighting fair either. And if you shut down, you're not allowing the conversation, you're not allowing the hurt, you're not allowing the issues to be taken care of, and so what's going to end up happening is you put yourself at more and more risk of having a divorce. More and more risk if you don't work through it. Because all that animosity and all that anger on the opposite end, as you shut down, continues to build. It's like a snowball. You know, it continues to go down the hill, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're just like, I don't care. Don't worry. You know, you can just keep talking. You can say whatever you want. I don't care anymore. You're not helping the issue. And I know that. I do it the same thing, though. I'm like, I don't want to fight. And so my issue, when I go, I don't want to fight with you, I would rather just sit here and you win. That doesn't help solve the issue. That doesn't help take care of the problem. And all it does is create more of a divide, and it makes it to where she feels hurt because I'm not communicating with her anymore. And that's the same way that I guarantee most of your women feel if you're a guy in here and you stonewall is that they feel that you're just like, you know what, he doesn't want to talk to me. We have to stop doing that. So what it really comes down to is we cannot continue to fight against each other. We have to fight against the enemy because he continues to throw everything in the way. So we have to fight against the enemy. You know, and we also have to do is we also have to make our marriage first. So we can't continue to fight and go, hey, we're going to continue to we're going to scream and yell at one another. And if you want to have a healthy marriage, then you have to put your marriage first. Allow those other things, those other side distractions. Allow the enemy. Fight against him. Stop fighting against one another. You're so much stronger as a team. You're so much stronger as a group to go out. And you know what? We can take care of this together. When we have financial issues, we can take care of that together. When we have laundry issues, we can take care of that together. When we have whatever the issue is, and if we pursue it together, it makes it to where we can take care of it. When we're trying to, you do it. No, you do it. That's not taking care of it together, and that's not putting your marriage first. That's putting you first and putting you at the center of the story. This is all about me, and this is all my story, and you're going to do what I ask you to do. We have to change it. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. That's Romans 12:21. Guys, do not let evil overcome your relationships. Don't let it happen. Together, the two of you can overcome so much. In friendships, it's the same way. In relationships, it's the same way. Overcome it together. You can overcome evil with good. All these issues that we have, all these things that we look at in our relationship and go, this is happening, that's happening, whatever it is, we can overcome it together. We can put up different, if it's necessary, if it's porn, then we can put up firewalls and we can make it to where that doesn't happen. There's tools out there. There's different things out there. If one continues to lie, then put a GPS tracker on him. I mean, you can figure it out. You can do things together, but willing to be able to accept those things and know that, hey, I need to be held accountable. But do it together. Don't do it and be like, hey, I'm going to go slip this bad boy underneath this car. No. You have to do it with one another. You have to know, hey, look, I'm not comfortable. This is how we're going to fix this. And work through it calmly. You can do things so much differently if we try to overcome it together. With Christ, all things are possible. With Christ, any marriage can be healed. With Christ, your marriage can be healed. So when you look at it and you go, we have brokenness or we have hurt or whatever it is, it can all be healed with God. That's why the first thing that we started with is that we have to seek God. And that's why it's the most important thing. We have to seek Him first. And if we're both pursuing Him in our relationships, whether it's your relationship with a friend or with anybody else, if you're both pursuing God, then guess what happens is that everything else seems to fall in place behind it. Your relationship becomes a whole lot easier because you guys are both pursuing the same thing. You're both pursuing what God is actually going, I want you to go for this. I want you to have this. I want you to be. But when one of us is pursuing God and the other is pursuing sin, makes it impossible to bring them together. You cannot bring them together like this. How it's shown here, you can't bring the two of them together. One's fighting one direction, and so with that, how is it that a marriage that's heading in two opposite directions, how can they ever be together in harmony? You both have to be pursuing God together. You both have to be pursuing the same things all through life. Ephesians tells us, and Genesis tells us, Genesis 2, it says, man will leave his mom and become together with his wife, and the two will become one. We have to pursue it together. We are one. We are not two different people. Every decision we make affects the other. Whether it's what job we take, whether it's where we spend our money, every decision affects one another. It's repeated by Jesus, and He tells us is that man will become one with his wife. And we look at this and we go, well, if I'm one with her, why do I hurt her so often? Or why do I do things that are so opposite of her? And why do I do things that I continue to want to do instead of acting as if she is part of me? It's one of those things that we have to look at, and we have to make a reflection, and we have to go, I got to change that. I don't want it to be this way anymore. I want to pursue Christ together. I want to pursue a healthy marriage together. I want to go after. I just want her to be happy, because when she's happy, I'm happy, because the two are one. Her happiness doesn't, but the two become one, and we get to do life together. We get to do life happily. We get to do life excitedly together. But we can't do it when we continue to bring up the past. We can't do it when we continue to hurt one another. We can't do it when we continue to fight unfair. We need to pursue God. And we need to be able to work through our arguments and work through our disagreements, because the two of us are one. It's the hardest thing to do. It's hard to think with the other person in mind going, you know what? How does this affect her? Because if it affects her or him, it affects you as well. You have to change sometimes. And you have to think with the other person first. Most of us want to be that center. Most of us want to be the person that the spotlight's on. We want to be the one that's held up, and I'm the leader of this house. The two become one. You're both the leader. And you're both trying to raise your kids. And you're both trying to live in a healthy environment. And you're both trying to have a clean home. And you're both trying to go to work. And you're both trying to do, and guys, sometimes we just make it work differently in each house. But if we don't pursue God first, all those other things end up being nightmarish. All those other things end up being, because all those different things get blocked by sin, they get blocked by hurt, they get blocked by anger. So instead of pursuing happiness and pursuing God, we're always trying to recover our relationship. And we're always arguing. And we're always angry at one another. And we're always talking to our friends, going about how much my husband does this, or how much my boyfriend does that, or whatever it is, or how much my wife doesn't do this, or whatever it is. And if we're both pursuing God, there's less of that, and there's more. Can you believe that my wife did this? Can you believe my husband did this? He thought of me before he went out and did that. Because we realize that two are one, and we are living life that way. Let's pray. Father, thank you so much. Thank you so much for our relationships. Thank you so much for putting us together with people. Thank you so much for making us one. For making our relationships, for making us where we come together and we are one with one another, and we get to go out and we get to do life together. And God, I pray that you help bring together and you help us all pursue Christ. Because we know that when we're pursuing him, that our relationships tend to be so much better, that we're not angry and we're not fighting over little things, that we know that we're both pursuing God and we're doing life together, and we know that we're doing life for Christ. God, it makes it to where we don't fight as much. It makes it to where we don't have as much anger, and makes it to where we just know that we're all pursuing the same goals. God, give us the courage, give us the strength to dive in and start pursuing you. Start loving you and start fighting fair. God, I know that we're walking away with notes, and I know that we're walking away with different, but God, we need you to be in the middle of this. We know that you can heal our relationships. We know that with you that you can make our relationships whole and loving. We just need to pursue you. God, in all this we pray in your Son Jesus' name. Amen. So, guys, you know that, and it's pretty standard at this time. We do our financial worship at the end of the sermon, and today's no different. And so, if you come on Sundays and you give on Sundays, or if you come on, one of the services, or you give online, then please don't feel that it's time that you have to give. This is an opportunity for you to give. If you haven't been here on a Sunday, or you missed Sunday, this is just an opportunity. Then this is not in addition to what you already give. If you're new here, or if you're a member at another church, then please give your money there. That's where it belongs at. It doesn't belong here. This is really a time for our members and a time for our people to help support this place. Not a time for us to have you hurt your church or have you hinder what you're giving there. Guys, we, as a church, we have amazing news. Is that tomorrow we are signing a lease for the restoration project. It was supposed to be today. And so we are opening this facility at 640 Broadway, where we're going to open up and we're going to serve and we're going to give away food and we're going to give away clothes. So we get possession of that tomorrow. And, guys, we're excited for that. We really are. It's one of these times that we know that we're going to give back to the community. We know that we're going to dive in and be able to and get to love on the people who need it the most sometimes. People that are hurting the most. The people that just go, I need somebody to talk to. And so we get this opportunity to do that. But we can't do that without our members' help. We can't do it without having people help us get through that. And so as you are giving, or as maybe you're not giving, maybe you're going, I want to test this, and I'm ready to put God to the test here. Know that your money is being spent towards where it's supposed to go. It's supposed to go back to this community. It's supposed to go back into loving the people around here, and know that that's where it goes. It doesn't go to lining this beautiful building. It'd be, it goes for that too, but it goes mostly into giving back to the community. As thank you. Here's that tithe video, and I'll be back.